Thanks for joining us today for our Environmental Products Overview webinar. Welcome everyone. My name is Wes Combs. I'm the Environmental Products Marketing Manager at Zoeller Pump Company. We appreciate you joining us today for our Environmental Products Overview webinar. Before we get started, I want to cover a few details. Please note the email address written below the title on your screen. Should you have any questions after we wrap up today, you can send them to webinars@zoeller.com and we'll get back to you. Now that those details are covered, I want to start off by telling you a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Wes Combs. I have a bachelor's degree in agronomy from the University of Kentucky. I've been with Zoeller 16 years now. My role have included Onsite Sales Manager, Regulatory Specialist for Clarus, Market Development with Clarus, responsible for assisting in market development of various international markets, as well as product compliance domestically and internationally, and Clarus Product Marketing Manager. And again, currently I hold the role of Zoeller Environmental Product Marketing Manager. Now you know a little bit more about me and my background. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so today what we're going to do is an overview of the environmental products at Zoeller. These are some of our main product offerings. Categories we're going to cover today are pumps that are unique to the environmental products line, step systems, effluent filters, treatment systems, distribution components, accessories, and controls. Okay, pumps. Turbine effluent pumps are unique to the environmental product line. You may know these as well pumps. They're very similar, almost identical. The only difference between a well pump really and an effluent pump is that we put a cord on the effluent pump that makes it wastewater safe. So the pump itself is composed of the bottom end, which is the motor. Our sister company, Flint & Walling, up in Indiana, manufactures that motor, as well as the rest of the pump. Center is the 1/8 inch intake screens. That's where the effluent is going to enter into the pump. And then the top end is the wet end, and it has floating impellers on the inside of it. Some of the jargon you may hear when you're talking about turbine pumps are stages. Inside the wet end, there's a series of floating impellers. The number of impellers in that wet end determines how many stages. So 5 impellers, 5 stage. And the same horsepower motor, a half horsepower motor, will have more pressure at 7 stages than it will at 5 stages. So the more stages, the higher the pressure. These are used for higher head applications, as you can imagine. Used in the well industry, you may have a well that's 100 to 300 feet deep. So you need a pump that's going to overcome those total dynamic heads. And we do that also with this pump in the effluent application. Many models to choose from, lower flows, 11 gallons per minute up to 85 gallons per minute. Half horsepower to 3 horsepower motors, 115, 230 volt up motors. Standard cord on these effluent pumps is 10 feet, but we can do 25, 50, and 100-foot cord lengths if needed. Normal warranty is 1 year. We offer an extended 5-year warranty also. A couple of other pumps that are kind of unique to the environmental products, centrifugal effluent pumps, are the Model 51 and the 142. These typically are used on individual residences, single-family homes. They're characterized by lower flows and lower total dynamic heads. Good pumps for low-pressure pipe system, for example. Another centrifugal pump that we offer is a high-head model. This is a Model 5054. It's a 230-volt pump, non-automatic, has a semi-open vortex impeller, and we have pretty high gallon per minute at fairly high elevations that we can overcome. So if you have a high head application and you need a centrifugal pump, this would be a good choice for that. Step systems. STEP means septic tank effluent pump system, if you haven't heard that term before. As you can see here on the right side of the slide, this is the step system itself. More or less, it's a pump vault that will contain filters down in the bottom. So we're going to filter the effluent as it comes into this vault. It's installed in a septic tank or a pump tank, as you see over on the right. So the effluent is going to enter into the inlet area here. This is located in the clear zone inside the septic tank or the pump tank. It'll come in and pass through the 7 filters that are at the bottom of the vault, and then it'll flow over into the pump well. And that's where the turbine effluent pump will be located. We have a separate float tree here that removes, so you can adjust the floats, and then there's the handles for the filter cartridge here. You'll notice up on top, there's a couple of Schedule 80 PVC pipes. These are the hangers for the step system. Normal installation is we're going to hang the step system from the top of the tank on those 2 pipe hangers. So it'll be suspended off of the bottom of the tank. The key takeaway to using a step system is you're pumping filtered effluent from a solids environment. Again, a septic tank, they can be installed More often, they're installed inside of a second pump tank. We use these for pressure sewers and a cluster system, so low pressure collection lines. That's where a lot of these are used. High head requirements will be part of that, but also we use them for drip irrigation systems that has a bit of a higher head requirement. We use these in our recirculating media filters too, especially the larger systems for cluster system commercial applications. We dose our treatment system with these turbine pumps. Standard vault is 60 inches. It needs to be suspended in a minimum 18-inch opening on the top of the tank. It can sit flat bottom if necessary if you have a shallower tank. And that would be the case especially with our 51-inch, where the top has been removed and it sits on the bottom. 60, 66, all the way up to 120-inch vaults. Lots of different heights because we're putting these in lots of different height tanks. Again, the 51-inch vault doesn't have hangers, so it sits on the bottom of the tank. Normal opening size, which is right here on the vault, is a 2x5-inch opening. We do sell the vault with nothing cut there, and that can be done in the field by the contractor just to dial in exactly where they want to locate that opening into the vault in that clear zone there. Again, simplex, we can also do a duplex. There's room for a second pump in the unit, and these are the multi-stage turbine pumps, as we've said before. And we can also run up all these pumps, even the 85-gallon per minute pumps, we can put two in those for a duplex configuration. And this is, again, what they look like. This is one that's suspended inside of a tank. Again, very important that we locate that opening in this clear zone here. This is one sitting on the flat on the bottom. The next vault we have is a centrifugal effluent vault. This is where we're using centrifugal pumps. Same application in terms of we're pumping filtered effluent from a solids environment. These are typically going to go on an individual resident and take care of the effluent on site, whereas the turbine pumps oftentimes we're using those to collect effluent and put them into a main. These are usually lower flow applications like low pressure pipe systems or pumping from the pump tank up to a distribution box, for example. We also need an 18-inch opening in the tank. And our standard size is 47-inch, but we have a few longer vaults also for deeper pump tanks, 50 and 63. Again, 51, 142 models are the most common that are used in the centrifugal vault. But we also have tested all the other pumps that are listed there, 53 up through the 153, which can be used here. Just the anatomy of this particular vault. As you can see, here's a centrifugal pump here. Here's the discharge. The discharge is actually where we attach the floats. Pump handle, filter handle, and then we have 4 effluent filters located in the bottom, and the flow then is coming under the filter and coming up through the bottom as opposed from into the side on the turbine step vault. Again, this is what it looks like, a little larger diagram to look at. So again, important to make sure that that opening is in this clearest zone in the tank. Septic tank effluent filters. We have a couple of different models. This is our smaller one, which is for single family homes or smaller flows. A WW1 Effluent Filter has 132 linear feet of 1/16 inch filtration. So as you look at the filter here, this is the main cartridge. It has 1/16 inch openings here. Flow rate's 1,500 gallons per day. We also, on this filter as well as the other one I'll show you in a minute, we have bypass protection or a secondary filter screen. So all that means is when you remove, this is the secondary screen here, the bypass protection. When you remove the cartridge out of a Schedule 40 or SDR 35 pipe, you pull that out, turn it half of a turn, unlock it, and pull it out. We're going to wash it back into the tank. And then this stays in place. It locks actually into the outlet of this 4-inch pipe. So anything that falls off of the filter as you pull it up to clean it, any of the solids that are on that filter that fall back in there won't go out to your drain field or your downslope environment, wherever that may be. We sell these just the filter cartridge, but we also sell them with the filter tee if you need that. These filters will plug. We do recommend that they are cleaned once per year. Always important to make sure that you put a riser with a lid over top of it so you can access them for cleaning. For owners that are concerned about the plugging and they want some kind of a notification, we offer an alarm system. It's a couple of pieces of PVC here with a float hanger on it where you can hang an alarm float that glues into the top of the cartridge. Usually we're going to set that to where effluent starts back up into the tank about 1 to 2 inches, and then the alarm will go off. This is an indoor-outdoor alarm. It'll actually light up the face of this alarm as well as have a buzzer on it. Okay, the big brother to the WW1 is the WW4. Same principle, only we have 4 of the WW1 cartridges attached to the filter plates here. This would be the filter cartridge. This is a filter case that it goes down into. We use these on residential, but they're more used on commercial and cluster systems, larger flows. Filter area is 528 linear feet, again of 1/16 filtration. Flow rate is 4,000 gallons per day. We also have bypass protection or a secondary screen on this filter, and that's it right there, which actually slides into the slot right here on the outlet end of the filter. So again, cleaning, these do come with two handles also. They can be extended or shortened depending on your application. We're going to pull the filter out, wash it down back into the tank, and anything that falls off of these four filters back into the filter case, secondary screen will catch. The secondary screen has 1/16 inch openings also. After reinserting the filter cartridge, you can pull the secondary filter screen out and wash that also. One thing that I want to mention, both the WW1 and the WW4 filters, we maintain NSF standard 46 certification on both of those filters. So if you happen to be in a location, a state, or a jurisdiction that requires standard 46 on your filters, then you'll be in good shape to use either one of these. On these larger filters, the WW1, we can gang those together with T's and manifold them if we need higher flow. So if you had, for example, a restaurant with a higher flow rate, say 16,000 gallons per day, then you could manifold them together with T's, as you see in the diagram here. The WW1 and the WW4 are gravity flow filters, so they're going to be installed on the inside of the tank on the outlet end. So now we offer a pressure effluent filter also, and this would be it. It's installed in the pump discharge. Usually you're going to locate this up in the riser or close to the riser so you can have access to it. It's a plastic case. It has a stainless steel screen with 1/16 inch openings on it too. And if you need a little bit finer filtration, we offer a 600 and a 100 micron filter sock, which will actually install down into the stainless steel screen. We also offer an alarm package with this. This is a pressure sensor that connects up into there's a port on the housing, and this pressure sensor will sense whether the pressure starts to increase inside the pressure filter or not, and it'll set off an alarm. We also offer a couple of other accessories, filter cap wrench tool, which is here, and then a filter removable brush tool, and you can clean the filter with that also. All right, we're going to talk a bit about distribution components. This is a distribution box we call Tru-Flow Splitter. All it is you're going to have a septic tank for your primary treatment, and from the septic tank it's going to flow to this distribution box. It splits effluent between 2 and 5 outgoing streams, so you can have up to 5 lateral lines attached to it. The key to this box is once you install it, you'll notice when you look inside here, this is the filter leveling tray, is we have a bubble level here, and then there's a plastic thumb screw on the back side of it. So what we do is just unloosen that thumb screw, and then you tap the tray on either side, and you get it in bubble level, and then retighten that screw. You do that when you install it, and then after it's installed and you have the lid on it, you're going to have a 4-inch pipe attached to the outlet here, the riser, that'll come up to grade with a cap on it. And so all you do to check this is after it's installed and covered with soil and in use, you just take the cap off, shine a flashlight down, and you're going to view the bubble level and see where it is. So if there's been some settling due to frost, heave, or 2-to-1 mixed mineralogy clays, anything that might push this out of level, it's easy then just to take a 1/2 or 3/4 inch pipe with a handle on top of it. You put just a vertical saw kerf in the bottom of it, and you slide that down into this 4-inch pipe and loosen the screw here. And then all you do again is just tap the side of the leveling tray, whichever side you need to, get it in bubble level, and then tighten it back. And we've tested this Tru-Flow Splitter quite a bit. And if you've got 5 outlets, each one of them 100 feet to a drain field, you can rest assured each one is getting exactly 1/5 of the effluent. In another lifetime, I used to do a lot of troubleshooting on failed systems, and normally the very first place we would start on a gravity flow or a pump system, if it had a distribution box, the first thing we'd do is start there, and we'd have to uncover it, dig the soil off of it, open up the concrete box, and then we'd have to get a hose, pour water into the distribution box, and then view the leveler devices in there and see whether it had settled or not. More than often, if you've got breakout in a yard on a fairly new system in particular, the box is settled, and it doesn't take much, 1/2 inch of settling one way or the other, and you're going to have all the flow going out 1 or 2 different lines. So we'd have to re-level it with the leveling devices inside the box, and then you have to cover it back up. You know, the beauty between the Tru-Flow Splitter and the concrete box is we don't have to dig anything up with the Tru-Flow Splitter. We can re-level it just by looking down into a 4-inch pipe and close it up with a cap, and we're done. These are used for gravity flow. We can also pump into them. Pump flow up to about 30 gallons a minute. That's if you have all 5 lines occupied. Otherwise, you're looking at about 5 to 6 gallons per outlet if you're pumping. You pump too fast into them, the velocity is too fast into it, it'll jump over this leveling tray and you won't have equal flow. This is what it looks like installed. So septic tank again for pretreatment. We have to have a tank in front of the Tru-Flow. You have to have treated water going into this. It won't handle large solids. And this is installed. Here's the 4-inch pipe coming up with the cap. And you can see there's at least 3 lines coming off into the drain field here. Multizone valves, also known as indexing valves. We use these anytime that we have zones that we want to pump to. It could be soil absorption field zones. It could be zones inside of a treatment system. Anytime we want to break the system up into multiple zones and we want to pump to those zones individually, we can use one of these multi-zone valves. And we're going to pump into the inlet here, and these are the outlets. We can do between 2 and 6 outlets on these models. We're going to always locate these inside of a 30-inch diameter riser so we have access to them for maintenance. We do maintain all the parts that are necessary for maintenance on these items too. There's a few parts on the inside that move and that could have some wear on them. At some point, we'll have to open these up and replace some of the components. You're looking at one example here where you have 6 zones. So pumping into the inlet here, you have zone 1 that'll pump first. At that point, zone 2, 3, and 4, so on, they're resting. So one of the things we use these for is if we want resting dosing cycles, and that helps maybe in clayey soils that are slowly permeable. So you'll be dosing one zone and the rest of the zones will be resting and hopefully drying out a bit. And we have various zones in our recirculating media filters also. So several different applications. These are very handy. They're fairly popular out in the on-site world. Drip irrigation and accessories. We have a full line of drip irrigation components. We can also put together packages for a system. Drip irrigation, if you've not been exposed to that, it comes from the agriculture industry, the irrigation industry, just 1/2-inch diameter piping, as you can see here. And every 2 feet, normally, they have other spacings available. There's an emitter extruded into the piping. And at that emitter, every 2 feet, when the pump is on, it literally just drips out. Just small, very small amount of water. That's where it gets its name, drip irrigation. Normally, these drip irrigation systems are used when you have shallow restrictive horizons, frangipans, water table, bedrock, that type of thing, and you're trying to maximize vertical separation distance. You can put these in, be 6 to 12 inches deep, and keep as much separation distance down to the restrictive horizon as possible. So normal installation is, say, between 6 and 12 inches below grade. The one you're looking at on the left side here, this is an at-grade system. So this side had very shallow restriction. So really the sod has been skimmed off and we're laying it just right on top of the ground. And then there's going to be about 6 to 8 inches of soil placed over top of this for a final grade. One other note on drip irrigation is that in most cases, most designs require secondary treatment, treated effluent. We do flow through a 100, 110 micron filter screen, or just filter for this to help remove as much solids as possible so it doesn't plug up the emitters. But again, we've got the full line of control panels, drip components, whatever is needed for a drip system. Okay, some of the accessories we have. We offer risers in a number of diameters, 12, 24, 30-inch diameter risers. As we said before, these are necessary anytime you have a pump in a tank that you need to get access to it, where you have a filter in a tank, or maybe you have a step system. You always want to have a riser and a lid over it for access for maintenance purposes. All the lids are green to help blend in with the lawn. And we have standard heights available, like 12 inches, 24, 36-inch risers, but we can also custom cut if you guys need that. Have a 2,500 pound wheel load rating, so they're strong risers. Treatment systems. This is a recirculating media filter, also known as a trickling filter. This will meet secondary treatment standards. And really the way this works is we have a septic tank for pretreatment, and then we have a pump tank. And we're going to dose out to a distribution network that's laid over top of 12 inches of 3/8-inch pea gravel. The pea gravel then is a treatment medium. The pump is going to be on a timer dose cycle, so we pump out exactly how much we want at a particular dose. And the effluent's going to come out of the orifices here, and it's going to flow over top of the rock, the 3/8-inch pea gravel, and that it's going to grow bacterial population, film on those rocks. And that's where the treatment happens. And then we have a collection network down at the bottom. Effluent will be collected In this case, we're using our Tru-Flow Splitter. We can set that up in a manner where we're going to have an 80% recirculation rate and 20% is going to go out to final disposal. So 80% will come back into the tank again and be redosed out throughout the day. We use these quite a bit in commercial systems, cluster systems, community systems in particular. This is one we did down in Tennessee with 199 homes in a subdivision. It's not fully constructed yet. We put this picture in so you could see what they look like as they're being constructed. So you're looking at the low pressure distribution network that's dosing the effluent out, and it's sitting on top of the 24 inches of treatment medium. And then underneath of that, we use, usually on these larger systems, we use leaching chambers for our collection network piping underneath. These are under drain system. And again, when this doses out, 80% of that's going to return back into the pump tank and be redosed again throughout the day. 20% is going to go to final dispersal. This will get about 6 inches of gravel over top of the piping. You won't see that. These are clean outs that go down into the leaching chambers on the ends of the leaching chambers, where we can clean those solids out if ever need be with a septic tank pumper truck. Again, secondary quality effluent. And these are very popular systems. They're low cost for what you get, very bulletproof systems that work really well for lots of different applications. This is a constructed wetland system that we offer. It's called a Z-cell. And just like with the recirculating media filters, we offer everything in a kit. We offer the liner, all the piping, the pumps, the control panels, all the fittings. If there's any multi-zone valves, those are part of the package. But basically a wetland is a rock bed filled with, in this case, it's larger river stone, probably 1 inch or 1.5 inch river stone. And what we do is we pump into the bottom of the wetlands. There's a distribution network on the bottom of the stone bed, and have a septic tank for pretreatment. And the effluent then, primary treated effluent, is being dosed to the roots of the plants. We have a water leveling device where we keep the water, the effluent, below grade, so there's no exposed sewage that kids or vectors or pets can get into. And then, so there's going to be bacteria that grow around the roots and on the stone, and those are going to be responsible for the treatment. The plants will use nitrogen and phosphorus, and they'll also uptake quite a bit of water, and they're going to lose a bit of it through openings in the leaves called stomatas. So as you're going to have some evapotranspiration. It's not uncommon during the summer months when you have a good stand of plants here. We're going to have no discharge from the system at all. Again, offered in a kit configuration from Zoeller. This is our fusion treatment system, or we call it a pre-engineered system. So everything's complete when you get it. Everything is built, and so it's a matter of dropping it in an excavated hole, and you hook up 1 4-inch incoming pipe here, 1 4-inch outgoing pipe here, and then you've got 2 air lines that come into the side of the fusion, here and here. 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch air lines. This is a secondary treatment device also. We're certified NF standard 40 with the fusion. Just quickly, the anatomy of the fusion. This is a small septic tank here. So you're going to retain a lot of the solids, the larger solids here. They're going to flow into the middle chamber. We call it the anaerobic chamber. Here, there's bioballs that the water's going to flow through. The effluent's going to flow through. This is an anaerobic compartment. Flows over into the aerobic compartment where we're using a linear diaphragm air pump to blow air into this, and we have smaller media over on this side, and we're continually tumbling that media with air all day long. And then it goes through during the evening hours, it goes through a backwash cycle, cleans that media well, returns the sludge back to the head of the tank for redigestion. Again, secondary treatment device that we have certified with NSF standard 40. We've got several sizes, 450 gallon per day size, 800 gallon per day size. We have larger sizes also. We have a new 1400 gallon per day system, 2800 gallon per day, and a 4000 gallon per day system. Controls. This is a time dose panel. Put this slide up really to tell you that we have a lot of off-the-shelf panels. We can also do lots of different custom panels. So any of your control panel needs, we can meet just about any of those. We also own a panel company now, so there's a lot of in-house custom panels being done. So if you need anything with the control panel, let us know and we'll help you out with that. Lastly, anytime there's a pump in a system, we recommend an alarm system. So this is a new one we have out called an APAC outdoor alarm. So always when you have a pump, make sure you have an alarm. You'll have a visual marker on this when there's an alarm. The front of the face lights up on it. And then you'll also have a buzzer here that's loud that'll let the owner know that there's a problem. Silence switch over on the side here, if need be, until the repair person can get out to see it. This concludes the presentation portion. I hope you found the information valuable. You know, we also offer in-person training and live virtual training sessions at our Zoeller University on-campus location, a Center for Excellence. The center is a 6,000 square foot facility with classroom area for lectures and a demo room for hands-on learning. Our CFE staff can tailor courses to anyone, whether you're a beginner or a more seasoned professional. If you can't come to us, we can always come to you with our Zoeller University of the Road product trailer. The trailer is stocked with our latest products, demos, swag, and more. You can reach out to your local Zoeller representative to schedule a visit from the Zoeller product trailer for your next counter day or event, or book a trip to the CFE. Should you think you might have any lingering questions, again, please jot them down, jot down our webinar email, and send them our way. And with that, we'll wrap things up. Thank you so much for taking time to join us today, and have a great rest of your day.